look like Fashion Nova Peggy Bundy. The cigarette pants I'm wearing are kind of helping with that. It's good. Today was really confusing because I'm not used to wearing makeup below this part of my face, so at this point I'm just kind of like, lipstick? What is that? That's something that was from a time before. YouTube has clearly not been a priority because I think my last video that I made was like 3 months ago. If you want some background to this video, then you can go watch that one, or you can just go straight in with me on this one. I have moved, I have relocated to the place that I was talking about before, and that place is Salem, Massachusetts. And it's really exciting, and I've been enjoying this last week where I've gotten all my furniture moved in and I've gotten everything situated and it looks like somebody lives here and it's not just a bunch of boxes. I've had a really great time exploring town and figuring out where everything is in location to where I live. It's been a ride, it's been a time. We have dealt with 2 car breakdowns in the process of getting me up here. I have nearly broken my mom on multiple occasions. I didn't know where my furniture was for about 5 months, but we here. And if you're noticing the really fancy backdrop behind me, that's actually gonna be part of the subject of today. Subject. No more sobbing. We're done with that for a while. I just have a lot of really weird things hanging on my walls, and I was thinking about what was going to be my first video coming back, and I wanted to do a house tour, but unfortunately a lot of sections of my house are still not quite put together. My office is still deeply under construction. It's full of like Tupperware bins and a lot of boxes that are half unpacked because not all of my furniture has arrived. I just wanted to share like a couple pieces that are like smaller pieces that really are valuable to me, or they have a cool story, or there's, you know, just something to them, and I just like telling stories, and I also like showing off that, you know, I have a lot of cool dead people's belongings in my house. I will tell you where everything is in relation to where we are in the space, or why I put it there, or why I own it in the first place, or how I acquired it, because there's a few pieces where you get in there and you're like, I actually want to start with 4 of the most meaningful pieces in the house, which are right behind me. Everything behind me belonged to my grandparents. I have a porg mug because obviously when that movie came out, my mom fell in love with them and we had to have everything that had a porg on it. And he broke, unfortunately, while I was moving. So we're just gonna Gorilla Glue him up and he's gonna be good as new. I'll put him over here now so that way he's safe and he's not going to be filmed until he's recovered fully. A Japanese partition that my grandfather used to, oh, this angle. Ooh, these are gonna be fun. This is a Japanese partition that my step-grandfather owned that was in his house for a really long time. When he passed away, my mom took it and it's been sitting in our house for a while. It's just really beautiful. It's, I don't know how old, it's probably at least 60 years old. My mom was actually born in Japan, so this is a really special piece. It's nice to be able to have something from the country that she was born in. She is not Japanese. She was born on the naval base in Okinawa, so unfortunately I am whiter than sour cream and milk all put together. These pieces are also from an incredibly white country, London. They are reproductions of, I think, a Versailles-style French clock and candelabras that my grandparents found when they were in Portobello Road. The clock doesn't work. It's never worked. I thought moving to Massachusetts, I would be like, I'm gonna find someone who's like really into antiques and have them fix it for me. Unfortunately, I have not found anybody who can fix it for me, but a lot of people that are really into antiques. Well, I also have a framed photo of me and Jefferson Mays in a Christmas frame. He was in it on Broadway. I went to go see A Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder with him in it, and he was one of the nicest people I have ever met, and he looked me directly in the face after I told him how much I loved him, and he said, maybe we'll work together someday. If you've ever seen his arc on Law & Order SVU, it just proves that he's an incredibly underrated actor. And I love him. And he sits by my patio door. This is a picture of a Boston Terrier that my dad bought me for Christmas a few years ago. No context. He's real chill. So these are my parrots. They are from Georgia. They are extinct, unfortunately. We're a bird family. Everybody in my family loves birds, except for my dad, who does not fuck with anything that can get itself off the ground. The man doesn't do sloths or birds or pigs. There we go. No fly zone there. This is my favorite one because he's staring right at you, and this is my second favorite one because he's giving some superb amount of side eye. I have little figurines all over my apartment that just sort of sit in nice little spaces so they can see everything. And one of them is this statue of Hera that I got from a friend, and there was a big controversy when I first moved in because when I put her here, my mom was like, she has to be facing out toward the living room. And when I asked her why, my mom goes, because she likes to see everything. So she sits facing the living room. She's one you gotta keep happy. These hearts we bought when we were on a trip to Savannah when the pandemic started getting really bad. We were in Savannah the day the lockdown began, and this was the last store that we were allowed to go in and shop in. So they're really special to me. My mom has 3 hearts. They're just kind of like a special little reminder of our excursion through Savannah. It's fun. It was educational. We drove past a maximum security prison and a Confederate museum. This is a huge painting of Big Sur that my mom used to live very close to when she lived in California in the 70s, when it was basically just one long Jefferson Airplane video. Even though it's unframed, this is currently my favorite piece of art because it is the first piece of art that I ever bought in Salem, Massachusetts. It's by an artist named Charles Lang, and the title of it is The First Talisman Tree, but it has a new name since coming into the apartment because we like to name things in my family. I saw this guy hanging on a wall, and there was something about him. I don't know if it was the gold or the skull or midsummer kind of Wicker Man aesthetic that he had, but I loved him and I had to have him, and I just referred to him as the dude. My mom very much believes in energies of pieces, and certain things will kind of give you hints about where they like to live. We'll get into that later with a different piece I have in my apartment, but he really likes the fireplace. So we're like, let's put him on the fireplace. And when I get him a frame, he's gonna hang right about here. Keep calling him the dude. And my mom is like, he needs like a name, like an official name. And I'm like, okay, but I don't know what to call him. And she was sitting there, and randomly one night she just goes, Elwood. And I go, okay, why? She goes, I don't know, I like Elwood. So we looked it up, and Elwood actually comes from the word tree in Old English. And he kind of looks like a tree. So I thought that was a creepy, fitting little significance. So Elwood just lives here, and he's very happy. And I think he brings a certain protective energy into the place. He's also the only like masculine energy piece of art I have. All of my other art in my house is either like fairies and unicorns and like green women. So he's the only dude. And the dude abides. I have a lot of masks in the apartment. There's a bunch hanging up over there if you can see them, but I mainly wanted to talk about my 2 brown ladies. So I used to have a full set of maiden, mother, and crone figurines, but then my crone broke while I was moving. So I only have the maiden and the mother, and I think it kind of symbolizes like me and my mom, which was special because she was the one who helped me move in here, and she was the one that figured out where everything was supposed to go. We had to give them a couple flowers though, just to make sure that they were feeling pretty and respected because, like I said, we're going to get to another piece where she really lets you know how she's feeling. We have an opinionated bunch of women in this house, and only one of them is inanimate. There are a bunch of opinionated women in this house, and most of them are inanimate. This is a piece I bought from a street photographer in Philadelphia. It's the graves of Tennessee Williams, Edgar Allan Poe, and then F. Scott Fitzgerald and Zelda Sayers. And then this I found while moving, so I figured I had to put him up. So this is one of my modeling pictures that's now on my friend Nathan's business card. So click Save Photos if you're in Philadelphia for all your photographic needs. So this was a gift from my dad. It's from a colleague of his that does like forge work and a lot of iron stuff and makes swords and jewelry and cuffs and all sorts of fun things. But this is supposed to be a necklace, and I'll explain why I don't wear it. It's a beautiful necklace, in theory. Because it's iron, it weighs about 10 pounds, and it's right on your shoulders, so anytime you wear it, you end up with a crook in your neck. Also, the leaves go right over your nipples, so anything that you're wearing, or not wearing, over here gets rubbed on by iron. It's not a pleasant feeling, but it's a perfect accessory for the stairs that go up to my office. So ne'er a nipple will be harmed with her hanging there and looking beautiful. Yes, I own a reproduction of The Kiss by Gustav Klimt. Insert that joke from Buffy the Vampire Slayer above about how every college girl has that picture. I was the college girl that has the picture. I am now the grown woman that has the picture. I like it. Never getting rid of it. I'm just gonna, here we go. Said that certain things in my apartment have like an energy, or they give you a hint about where they want to live. I'm talking about this lady right here. This is a Celtic inspired green lady. My mom and I have matching ones and they are both hanging in our houses. And this is the most opinionated piece of furniture I've ever owned. When my mom put hers up, she immediately texted me and was like, does your lady, like, does her face change? Does she look a little pissed off? Does she give off a certain energy? And I was like, no, Mom, I don't think so. She goes, oh, because mine's a lot. She is not a lot. I think of her as more like a protective spirit. I think of her as when you have someone in your house that she doesn't like, that she doesn't trust, that maybe you don't like or shouldn't trust, she gets a certain kind of face. Her eyes also follow you. Like if you're sitting on the sofa, you kind of get the feeling that she's looking at you. If you're over in the kitchen, you kind of get the feeling that maybe she's wondering what you're doing, even though you're on the other side of the wall. I love her. I think that she is one of the coolest things that I've ever bought, even though she's the tiniest and she's maybe not the most extravagant. I just think that she's awesome. And it's another piece of art that I have with my mom that's matching, so we have memories of that. And it makes me feel a little closer to home because I'm pretty far away. Okay then. And now we get to go to the most titillating part of the house tour, because literally there's titties. Story time for later, used to be a burlesque performer and a burlesque dancer in Philadelphia, and if you were involved in the scene in that city whatsoever, you know who Adriano is. Adriano is a live artist. He will sketch you in the middle of your routine and he'll come up with the most like wonderful permanent marker or ink drawings. And I performed enough that I got a couple and I framed them all. These are really special because when I get my office finished, I get to go upstairs and I get to have like a couple good memories of living in a city that, you know, wasn't always the best, but every time that I got an Adriano, I knew that I had a good night. And to finish off at the top of the stairs, I have a custom piece from him. That's me in paint and ink, and it's Arte style, and I love it. I had done a photo shoot in an Arte style sort of cloth, and he asked if he could do a painting of it. I said absolutely. The minute that my mom found out that someone had done an actual painting of me and was like a legit artist, she was like, where do I get it? How much is it? And then she got this beautiful frame. So you get to walk up my stairs and see some seductive cartoon ladies, and then you get to the top of my stairs and you get the surprise. Basically, I wanted like a fun little video to get back into making things while I'm still adjusting to moving. I'm really going hard on the gram. Other videos that I want to make, I really want to talk about my experience in the burlesque community in Philadelphia. I want to talk about modeling in New York, about being a mid-size curve model, and about kind of all the struggles that I've encountered. I also want to make it like a regular thing that I do where I talk about body image, funny, stupid little stories about my past experiences with like anxiety and body image and depression and eating disorders and all that other stuff that goes on to being like a super fabulous person. You don't get there overnight. You go through a lot of other shit and then you're like, I'm amazing. Maybe. Still kind of getting to that point. But if you have any suggestions for videos or topics that you would like me to discuss, you can leave those in the comments, or you can message me at Glamour Possum on Instagram, Style by Glamour Possum also on Instagram, and hopefully in a little while you can send me a personalized message on my own website. Don't know why I'm doing the doo-wop finger. So I hope that you stay healthy, I hope your family stays healthy, and your pets and your plants and anything else that makes you you. So there you go.